All right. Thanks, Roshni, or DJ HETUG, I mean. And welcome everyone to the Higher Education Tableau User Group meeting for April 2026. We're so glad you could make it today. We've got a huge packed agenda for you. Lots of TC26 stuff. And then, of course, a little piece about Jane Goodall. So we're going to start off with our typical welcome plus announcements, followed by our Meet TC community speakers featuring the DataFam. We're going to have a shout out to TC26 with some know before you go info. And then I'm going to dig into my top 10 Iron Viz, excavating the Viz, uncovering DataFam artifacts. So that's pretty much just going to be me sharing all the different ways that I use the DataFam as inspiration and a helping hand to build that Viz. And then we're going to have our wrap up and chat at the end. So before we get into it, does anyone have announcements they'd like to come off mute and share or put in the chat? Nothing from the group today? Then we've got some announcements we can share with you ourselves. We'll start with our Analytics Day announcement. So this is going to be on June 11th from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. Registration is currently open. It is free. You have to register by May 28th. And if you'd like to submit a proposal, those are open until May 8th. And then I mentioned it's free. So go to the page, the Analytics Day website, sign up if you haven't already, and then share it with a friend because the more the merrier, right? And if you're curious about what might be in store for Analytics Day this year, well, we're going to have the Ultimate Viz Showdown featuring Tableau versus Power BI rematch. Which one will make the cut? You be the judge. I think we already know who's going to make the cut. Anyway, we're also going to have Andy Kriebel as our guest speaker this year. And if you're not familiar with Andy, he is a Tableau Visionary Hall of Fame member, a Tableau ambassador, and a 28-time Tableau Conference speaker. Wow. So I do believe he's going to be at the Tableau Conference this year. I don't know if he's speaking.
29. It's 29 now.
It'll be 29 now. Well, amazing. Blow my head off. I can't even imagine going to the conference that many times. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Speaking of Tableau Conference, we've got an announcement about the conference. We want you to be sure and take advantage of this education discount, a whopping $699 off the registration price. And we do want to know if you're going to TC26 this year. So who's going? You can react to the message to let us know if you're going. If you are newly hatched, this is your first time going to TC, then you can use the chick hatching emoji. If this is not your first TC, you've flocked there before, then you can use the hatched chick emoji. If you are speaking at TC26, if you'll be cockadoodle doing some talking, then you can use the rooster emoji. And if you're like me and you're going to be stuck at home winging it from Salesforce Plus in front of your laptop, crispy insights included, then you can use the chicken leg emoji. Sad. But hey, at least we're all going to be in it together, right? So let's see. It looks like we got a fair number of people from this group going, and that's a good thing that you joined us for today because we're going to have lots of insider information for you. I like the crying face. I'm right there with you. All right, so people come to TC to learn all sorts of things, new skills. They like to see what's coming next for Tableau, and they also like to connect with the community. It's the fastest way to level up if you work with data. And there are all sorts of community meetups happening this year, like Data Plus Women and Data Plus Tacos. Somebody, please eat a taco for me. Those events are happening on Monday. May the 4th be with you. And there's going to be an education meetup for you to meet other crazy cluckers like yourselves. And if you'd like to know more about that, I'm going to turn it over to James to tell you.
But now comes the challenge, because after 2 exciting days of conference, plus data night out, you need to start your Thursday morning in the data village, 8 a.m., with your fellow Tableau education Tableau users. You see the names in the monthly meetings, you see them in Slack. Now come meet the people in person. Now, besides the higher education tug, it also be co-sponsored with the California Community College, the K through 12, the I think University Teaching and Learning, and the San Francisco tug. So come meet us at 8 a.m. in the Data Village on Thursday. And now for the final announcement for IronViz. We have 122 entrants have been narrowed down to the final three, which is Ann Pregler, Kevin Wee, and Brian Moore. For the last couple of weeks, they have probably been working on the new data set they're presented for IronViz. Now, to get an idea of what to expect and to be able to help you choose who to root for during IronViz, go visit their visits on public and challenge yourself to use some technique in one of those villages in your next visualization. And now back to other sessions.
So there are 12 sessions that are either focused on education, are led by someone who works in education, or were adjacent enough to education in the public sector that we wanted to point them out to you. Some of them are actually going to be given by education tug leaders, some of this very tug, Roshni, hint, hint. But we also asked some of them to come and give a short promotion and trailer about why you might want to attend their session. So we have some here live and we have some recorded videos. So if we go to the next slide, on the speaker slides, if it has that pink play button, then it will be available for those of you who are attending virtually. And so first up, we have Gafar Shah and JT Thazathel from Drexel University, and they will be talking about advancing data literacy beyond spreadsheets. They are lucky enough to give their talk twice, so make sure you are favoriting the session and booking whichever one you're able to attend. And I don't think they are here, but they did send a video.
Hi, my name is JT Thasdal. I'm an assistant clinical professor here at the LeBeau College of Business here at Drexel University. I teach within the accounting department. My professional experience and my research interest includes analytics and AI, and I love incorporating data visualization into all my classes. I'm excited to be speaking at the Tableau Conference this year alongside fellow alumni Gafar Shah. Our session is titled Advancing Data Literacy Beyond Spreadsheets. In this world of AI, we as educators have a responsibility to develop critical thinking skills in the classroom as it relates to data. Data literacy isn't just for one specific major or discipline. It's a universal skill set that should be taught to all students. See you in San Diego.
And next up, we have Russ, who will be talking about making curriculum data make sense, and he is from the University of South Alabama.
Hello there. My name is Russ Cantrell. I am the Director of Data Administration and Strategic Initiatives for the Witten College of Medicine here at the University of South Alabama. My job role is a little bit unique in that most accreditation teams don't have a dedicated data person on the staff, on the team. They all are responsible for a ton of data, of course, when it comes to accreditation, especially in higher education, but they usually don't have a PhD candidate data specific individual the way that our team does. Because of that, I was able to use Tableau Prep and Tableau Desktop, Tableau Cloud to make some pretty big changes of how we're handling some of the curriculum mapping, the course review, the program review. And it is a topic that my educational friends have been wanting me to present for a while. I'm going to present it coming up pretty soon. It's called Making Curriculum Data Make Sense. It is half case study, half customer testimonial for just how much Tableau has revolutionized things here, how much we were able to do with good data fundamentals, data literacy, data governance, data visualization, the works. We were able to make some pretty big changes, and I think people will be very happy to hear about it. Hope to talk to y'all soon.
Next up, we have Salma and Aishwari from Southern Methodist University, and they are here live to speak about their session, Predicting Student Attrition with Tableau and TabPy.
Hi, So my name is Salma Mirza, and I am a data visualization specialist at the Southern Methodist University. And this here is
Hey, hi, my name is Ashwar Pawar. I'm a statistician in UDS team at SMU.
And we also have David Liska with us, who is the person who actually designed all the dashboards for us. He's also a data visualization specialist here at SMU. So what we have done is we have built a live predictive model right inside of Tableau. And we're using TabPy to do the statistical modeling. And what we're doing is that we're ingesting it all into Tableau. And we have been able to develop an interactive real-time model inside of Tableau, which can predict which students are at a risk of attrition. And that is something that we're going to demo at the conference. So I'm going to, in the chat, I'm going to throw in the time is on Wednesday at 8 a.m. and it is in the content pavilion. So that's what we're going to do. Hopefully, once you've attended the session, you'll be able to develop a live predictive model for student attrition yourself. Would love to see you all there.
Thank you so much. I have all of these sessions on my agenda right now, by the way.
Thank you.
All right, next up is Celia Fryer, and she is, I don't think she's here either, but we did get a video from her. So she will be speaking about agents are only as smart as your semantics. And she is also giving her talk twice, and it will be available available on demand. And next is Chicago's Data-Driven Journey Towards AI with Benjamin Goodman and Lewis Powell. And I don't think either of them are here. And so this is a public sector talk, but it's still, again, education adjacent and still within the realm of what we in the higher education sector are able to do with Tableau. So they are also giving their talk twice, on the first day and then again on the second day.
And one of the really cool things about this session is that they are talking a lot about how to work through silos to adopt AI in advanced analytics. And it feels like a lot of higher ed is very siloed as well. So I think there will be some really great lessons to learn from this session.
Thank you, Roshni.
You're welcome.
And then the next one is from Doc Elder and Anna Ford, and they will be speaking about the analytics fluency framework for the AI era. And Doc, I saw that you were here. I don't know if do you want to say anything before? Okay, perfect. So we will show this video next.
Good afternoon. It's time for a quick preview of our talk at TCE 26. The lovely and talented Anna Ford and I will be presenting on the topic Analytics Fluency Framework for the AI era. What makes your AI implementation attain success in a 95% failure AI world? Our agenda, we'll talk about what makes analytics successful, what makes AI fail, what makes AI successful, why, what is analytic fluency, what do we see in the trenches out there? Anna will take you through, and how do we get to analytics fluency? So we're going to combine theory, when you know everything, but nothing works, with practice, when everything works, but no one knows why. Combine theory and practice, and nothing works, and no one knows why. Wait a minute. That's not what we're going to try and do. Anyway, you get the idea. I've read all the research reports out there, every single one of them from MIT, Gartner, McKinsey, and of course, the greatest reports of all, the Dresner Advisory Services reports. My report is up to 74 pages. I have summarized it all for you. You will get that, but only if you are in attendance watching us up on the stage at TC26 in San Diego will you get the report. You'll also get my free chapter 1 of my book, Analytics Fluency. I've been teaching my students for nearly 40 years. You have to progress through all of these stages of analytics in order to get to that AI stage at the top that everybody wants to today. There are no shortcuts. You've got to ask all the right questions. So what if Dunder Mifflin just got AI? We'll walk you through it. Tell me the truth. I'm ready to hear it. Data matters more than the model, folks. They say the machines of the future will be as smart as people. Okay, but which people? Because that makes a huge difference. I mean, the pizza companies put open the box before eating the pizza. Just how smart is AI going to be? We don't need AI, be honest. We can do the job, be honest. Our data isn't ready for AI. Thank you. Anything you do after you're drunk isn't your fault. It's AI, alcohol intelligence. We'll get you ready for data night out. What if education really works? Come to Stage 3, Content Pavilion, Wednesday, May 6, 12:20 to 1 p.m. We will be there speaking. Did I say we'll have stickers? Oh, we'll have stickers. Did I say we'll have socks? Oh, we're going to have socks. We're going to have Tableau shirts. We're going to have fun. So please come and see us Wednesday, May 6, 12:20 to 1, Stage 3, Content Pavilion, the Analytics Fluency Framework for the AI era.
Man, I don't know that I can follow that up, but I'm talking at TC too. So last year, I talked accessibility, and Flex, you see him there, and his Dino friends, they provided some color commentary during the session. Well, this year, I'm talking accessibility again, along with clarity, ironic, and usability. And Flex, he's been promoted to an unofficial co-speaker. Well, sort of. Come on, Flex. I don't know what Flex is doing. I just don't know. Hello, everyone. It is I, Superflex, here to share something very special that helps make me, Superflex, oh so very super. As we all know, I, Superflex, am super. And part of what makes me super is how I take all of what I see around me on the web and then use it to level up clarity, power up accessibility, and tune up usability in my Tableau dashboards. Join me and my sidekick Roshni to learn how you can activate your Tableau superpowers at our Tableau Conference 2026 session, Design Dashboards that are clear, accessible, and usable. The folks at Tableau think Superflex is so nice that they're letting us present it twice. And I promise that voice will not appear during, well, okay, sorry, I don't know that I can make that promise yet. We'll see. There are a couple of other accessibility sessions also happening at TC. In the Data Village, there's a 20-minute theater session that will be recorded and presented twice by Kelly Bellinghausen and Denise Cheng, who are part of the Tableau accessibility team. I'm super excited to see what the roadmap of accessibility looks like for Tableau, and with a lot of the Title II. I know the Title II compliance was kicked forward a year, but there have been a lot of small improvements, and I know that there are more on the way to help everyone make their Tableau dashboards more accessible. And Kelly and Denise will be sharing some of what's coming up soon. And this is sort of a bonus session. There is a hands-on training session on accessibility too. It's called Data for All, Building Inclusive and Accessible Dashboards. Andy Tosh and Rachel Eiersman are going to be doing this session 3 different times at TC, because that is, and there's not that many hands-on sessions that are 3 times. But it's great to see that happening, simply because it means that Tableau is taking accessibility more seriously, and is willing to put the time and effort into that. All right, up next, non-accessibility, but actually still kind of accessibility, because we are talking about accessibility. Preeti Lodha from the UMass President's Office and I are going to be doing a session on the Tableau Dashboard Quality Checklist. The link is in the chat, but I may have vibe coded something to help learn about this session.
Our checklist brings all the boards to the yard, and they're like it's clearer than yours. Damn right it's clearer than yours. We could teach you, but you're in charge. Our checklist brings all the boards to the yard, and they're like it's clearer than yours. Damn right it's clearer than yours. We could teach you, but you're in charge. We know you need it. Standards that guide it. What your team relies on for. They gain that trust. Now we align. We know it's time. La la, la la, la. Check it off. La la, la la, la. The boards are waiting. La la, la la, la. Check it off. La la, la la, la. Your flow is waiting. Our checklist brings all the boards to the yard, and they're like it's cleaner than yours. Damn right it's cleaner than yours. We could teach you, but you're in charge. Our checklist brings all the boards to the yard, and they're like it's cleaner than yours. Damn right it's cleaner than yours. We could teach you, but you're in charge. We gotta see you on it. You want us to teach the techniques to critique dashboards. Steps won't be fraught. Just give it a thought. Watch, you'll be smart. La la, la la, la. Check it off. La la, la la, la. The boards are waiting. La la, la la, la. Check it off. La la, la la, la. Your flow is waiting. Our checklist brings all the boards to the yard, and they're like it's stronger than yours. Damn right it's stronger than yours. We could teach you, but you're in charge. Our checklist brings all the boards to the yard, and they're like it's stronger than yours. Damn right it's stronger than yours. We could teach you, but you're in charge. Oh, once you get involved, everyone will look this way, so you must define your goal. Same time design your Tableau. Just get the right intent, and name each field within. Then tested, checked, and finished. The users will frequent. La la, la la, la. Check it off. La la, la la, la. The boards are waiting. La la, la la, la. Check it off. La la, la la, la. Your flow is waiting. Our checklist brings all the boards to the yard, and they're like it's clearer than yours. Damn right it's clearer than yours. We could teach you, but you're in charge. Our checklist brings all the boards to the yard, and they're like it's clearer than yours. Damn right it's clearer than yours. We could teach you, but you're in charge.
Apologies, but honestly, I'm not sorry. That just I don't have any words for that. Preeti is not just doing a presentation with me, she is also co-hosting the Tableau tip battle with Danushki de Oliveira. It is going to be insane. There will be 8, count them, 8 contestants in the Tableau tip battle. They'll go up against each other head to head in a boxing ring of sorts, Tableau style. Our contestants include Igor Gorlowski from Data Dune and a Tableau ambassador, Lisa Hitch from the Information Lab, John Whitmer from Staples, also the Boston Tableau user group lead, Nick Pillsbury from Webflow, Jen Shepard, another Tableau ambassador, Kat Roca from HealthRise, Ojo Basu from Data2 Visuals, Celia Fryer. This is like the 10th time we've heard Celia's name, but she is amazing, who is a consultant at Theo Matrix and founder of Data Divers and teaches adjunct at the University of San Francisco. So this is another one of those cases where there's going to be a battle. You're going to want to root for someone, but I don't know who I'm going to root for. So do check it out. They all will share some amazing tips in a high speed, high stakes head-to-head competition. And only one will be left standing with their mega tips. It's always exciting. There's always a theme. I don't know if you can guess what that theme is from this, but we'll find out. And speaking of tips, the Tableau tip battle is not the only place where you're going to see a bunch of tips. We're also going to get, that's right, Andy Kriebel. He's also making his rounds in this presentation. He's going to be doing a session on Tableau speed tipping, Return of the Goats, with Jeff Schaefer from the University of Cincinnati, and also co-author of Dashboards That Deliver and the Big Book of Dashboards. I mean, these guys are like the OG Tableau tip sharers. So It's going to be another session offered twice that you really don't want to miss. And then finally, Lisa goes last because she built something very amazing, as if she wouldn't. Along with her presentation, Design Beyond Defaults, a 5-step custom UI framework, she built this really great video and this really great trailer that we're going to share with you now.
In a world of boring dashboards, where good enough is the standard, where user interface is an afterthought, one session is about to change everything. From the Tableau Conference in San Diego comes a 5-step framework to transform UI from generic to elevated. 5 steps, 0 defaults. What if every choice was intentional? What if every element had a purpose? What if people actually used your dashboards? Stop settling for default UI. Start designing with purpose and build dashboards people don't just open, but use. Join Lisa Trescott at TC26 and learn how to design beyond defaults. 5 steps, 0 defaults. Because good dashboards aren't just built, they're designed.
Wow, that's all I have to say. If you have never seen Lisa give a talk, you don't know what you're missing. That trailer is just a sign of the magic that you'll see at TC. It's going to be an amazing talk. Lisa's talks are always amazing, and yes, Doc, that's the same face I made when I saw this trailer the first time. We have one more education session at TC by Ken and Kevin Flairledge, how to do cool stuff in Tableau, the 2026 edition. So the Flairledge twins, they can't just fit into a regular breakout session. They have gotten elevated to the magical keynote room because their sessions are so amazing. They're just so massive. Everyone is interested in them, and there would be lines of people just standing, waiting room only if they were in a breakout session. Every year, the Flairledge twins they share a bunch of tips. Last year there was a video game, was up down AABA type trick they showed us about how to hide that ABC column that you can't get rid of easily. And I'm sure, yes, Konami code, exactly. I'm sure they're going to have something equally as amazing this year. And you might ask, like, why are these guys here? They're clearly not in higher ed. They're at Moxie Analytics. Well, Ken and Kevin Flairledge, they both have some education ties. So my favorite Flairledge twin, Ken, hold on. Animation, there we go. Him, that's Ken. He's my favorite. He used to work in higher ed at Bucknell, and though he has defected and gone over to Moxie, he's always going to be higher ed in our hearts. But I also learned that Kevin also has a higher ed sort of link in that he used to work with Jeff Schaefer. That's right, the Jeff Schaefer that we just saw a few slides ago of the Big Book of Dashboards and Dashboards that Deliver, and professor at University of Cincinnati. So, I mean, maybe Kevin is sort of also higher ed-ish. I don't know. But regardless of whether to do cool stuff in Tableau is an education session or not. You're not going to want to miss this. It is going to be in the big room. Even Flex concurs, but what's that, Flex? Is Keith going to be there? I don't know. You'll have to go to find out. So, what else is up at TC? Ginny?
Well, this is a pretty big announcement. We want to call out that EDU is HOTTOGO, and I'm being told, wait, what's that? Oh. While Chapel Roan is featured on the slide, she will sadly not be joining us at TC. Darn it, I was really hoping she'd be the Data Night Out special entertainer because I'd find a way to be there. All right, so for the first time ever at Tableau Conference, there is going to be an industry-specific hands-on or HOT session. And guess what? We are the industry. That's right. Education is the industry. So the co-leads of a bunch of different education tugs, that means HETUG, CCC tug, K-12 tug, University Teaching and Learning tug, we've all been working with Harold Thomas, one of the hot session instructors, and other Tableau Solutions engineers, including Jeremy Weatherall, the New England Brit with the magic coding skills, to build out a brand new super school data source that's going to be used in this hot session. So what does that mean? That means we get real education-related use cases to work through in exercises. Let me say that again and let it sink in because this is huge. We get real education-related use cases to work through in exercises. This is not a joke. I am so serious. So during this hot session, the Dean's list of measures, mastering higher ed data, attendees will work through hands-on exercises to answer questions like how many students persist from term to term or year to year, and then we'll deep dive into grade distribution and LODs. You are in for a treat if you are able to make it to this session, and we're super excited about this new development. So, I guess the only question is, which of these sessions are you going to?
Well, some of us are going to go to multiple of them. If you do go to these sessions, you will probably see some combination of those same education tug leaders. So Sam and James and I, possibly Lisa and Kim from the California Community Colleges tug, and David from the K-12 tug. We're going to be trying to get into some of these and help Harold out as he, as he enters his first term as a student in the higher education hot session teaching class. I don't know. I'm trying to make this analogy, and it's landing very poorly.
Well, that's all right, because you can tell us all about, what everyone needs to know about TC26 other than all these fabulous sessions.
Well, there's a bunch of things to do, and apparently I don't know how to animate on slides. So there are all of those side events that are happening. So Data Plus Tacos and Data Plus Women is on May 4th. Unfortunately, the reason Data Plus Women is not on this list is because registration is already closed. But registration is still open for Data Plus Tacos. Both of the other nights of TC, both Tuesday and Wednesday nights, there are some industry happy hours and receptions. IGNX is doing one for higher ed and nonprofits on Tuesday night, May 5th, and Carasoft is doing a public sector reception on Wednesday, May 6th. So if you're not into Dylan Francis, I don't even know who that is. I've been told to check out his music, but I have not yet and probably will not. But if you're not into Data Night Out, there is another alternative for those of you in the public sector. Other things you want to do if you're going is you want to download the TC Events app and the Salesforce Events app. In that, there will be a listing for a Tableau conference. You may have to hunt for it. So our tip is to just search for TC26, not Tableau conference, just TC26, all one word. And you should see the TC event show up. So add that. That will let you add get your agenda in there. You'll also be able to sign up for Tableau Doctor and Tableau Labs. If you've never done Tableau Labs is where you actually get to work with the Tableau research team. They will test out things that they're studying, potential prototypes that may, or depending on the lab results, may not go into a real live version of Tableau in the future. But it's a really great experience, and they have some good swag. Excuse me. And the last thing you should do right now is go to your schedule. We talked about, at this point, I think it was closer to a dozen and a half sessions that are out there, but there are so many sessions and you can't possibly attend all of them. So think about what your can't miss sessions are every single day. Try to find 3 to 5 at most, like 3, 4, even 5 can be a little too much to handle, and just put them on your agenda and then plan your day around maybe plan your day more on the fly for what you need in between. Because you never know who you're going to meet. You never know what other session is going to strike your fancy. So yeah. So this is what you can do now. What you want to do before you pack, I mean, some of you guys might be packing soon, is make sure you got what you need to make it through. So for your outsides, make sure you have comfy shoes because you are going to be on your feet a lot, walking back and forth across the convention center. And make sure you have comfy clothes because Tableau Conference is not normally a suit and tie affair. It's usually t-shirt and jeans and sneakers and hoodies and sort of the good part of what you would expect in a tech conference. And for the evening when the sun goes down, just know that San Diego can get pretty chilly. So make sure you bring some layers, especially if you're going to Data Night Out. It is right on the water, and that means it gets quite breezy, and that means what was 70 or 80 and perfect during the day turns into 60 or less and freezing cold. So bring your layers, and even inside, you never know how hot or cold the room is going to be. So having those extra layers that you can add or remove will just make you more comfortable throughout the day. So for your insides, there will be food. They'll provide lunch. There's a Starbucks next to the content pavilion on the ground floor. There's probably other beverage and food options throughout. But don't worry, bring your own. Bring a water bottle. There are water bottle filler stations around. That way you know that you're always going to have water. If you have snacks that you like, it doesn't hurt to bring a couple little bits and pieces here and there. That way you know that, if you don't get a chance to go get lunch or you wake up too late to get breakfast, you at least have a little bit of something and don't end up missing a session that you really want to go to. Earplugs. If you are going to Data Night Out and it may not hurt to have earplugs, I always tell myself, I'm going to remember to bring mine. And then every single time I forget. This time they're in my bag right now. I did not forget them. And cough drops. Cough drops, you're going to be talking to a lot of people, probably. There's going to be a lot of ambient noise, probably. Actually, no, there's going to be a lot of ambient noise. And because of that, you're probably going to be talking louder. And by the end of day 2, after Iron Viz and Data Night Out, your throat's probably going to be killing a little bit. So cough drops or whatever else you need to soothe your throat and make it so that you can actually talk would be quite useful. For your tech side, bring your phone, bring a power bank. One thing that has changed every single year since they've been in San Diego is the headphone situation. So good news this time around, you do not have to bring your own headphones. The claim is that they will have the disco headphones, so they'll have some sanitized headphones for everyone to borrow. As you walk into a session, you will be handed a pair of headphones. As you walk out of the session, you will hand that pair of headphones back. It goes into a big bin. They go and sanitize them and then refill with sanitized headphones. So you don't have to worry about Bluetooth and your headphones and having backups and having a bunch of extra battery packs in case your headphones eat batteries. But it's probably still helpful to have your phone because that is where the Salesforce Events app is and where your agenda will be. It's probably helpful to have a power bank just in case because you never know how much you are going to be on your phone taking notes or snapping pictures of Flex the dinosaur with random people. Yeah. Yeah, I went through so much battery power on Flex. Um, there's a question in the chat about whether we know if we'll still be able to use our own headphones or Bluetooth on our phone. I don't think that they answered that outright during the Know Before You Go sessions that were the official ones. So that is, Rob, that's still an open question. If you do have a pair of Bluetooth headphones, you can definitely bring them. They may or may not be useful. The app suggests that they will be, but again, not 100% sure. And again, they weren't very clear on it. So once you get there, badge pickup. If you're going to get there Monday, go pick up your badge on Monday to beat the Tuesday morning crowds. No one wants to wait in line first thing in the morning, uncaffeinated and tired. And yeah, just pick up your badge on Monday in between Data Plus Tacos and the Data Plus Women event. That's easiest solution there. Data Village. Data Village is on the first floor. It is where all of the community events are taking place. And so you should go explore it. In the Data Village, there's this whole community connection section. So there's the welcome desk. If you ever have any questions throughout any one of the days of TC, go to that welcome desk and someone will be able to point you to whatever it is you're looking for. There's a swag adventure, the DataFam adventure. I believe it's some sort of passport-like system where you go to different vendor booths or other like workshop or other booths in the Data Village, and once you get enough of whatever it is you're looking for, there's some swag on the other side, and I'm a sucker for swag if you can't tell. The DataFam gallery is going to be showing some amazing vizzes from Tableau Public, but they're also going to be showing some solutions that have been built by Tableau community members in the data dev space, including some TC26 hackathon finalist entries. And if you are into the data dev world, there's the data dev meetup, and the hackathon finalists are going to be talking about their solutions at that meetup as well. There are community learning events. It says 13 hands-on activities, so I believe that those activities are actually workshops. I'm not 100% sure, but there are a bunch of workshops, which is a new feature, new format. So they're sort of like drop-in workshops. You go there with your laptop, and there will be someone to guide you through an activity. So there's some. The only ones that I can remember off the top of my head right now are in the data dev space, but there are a lot of them, and just look up workshops in the session catalog. So community meetups, we've mentioned them before. Go to the education one. I know it's Thursday morning right after data night out at 8 a.m. But it's going to be fun, and we're going to have stickers, and we're going to get to meet each other, and it's going to be great. And there's a bunch of other stuff. Go to Data Village and explore when you get there, and you'll find out what all that other stuff is. And then, TC can be overwhelming. There's like over 10,000 people there. It is very loud. It is very busy. Everyone is constantly moving, but you don't have to. You do whatever you need to do. There are quiet rooms throughout the convention center. They are or will soon be on the map in the TC events, in the TC event on the Salesforce Events app. If you get overwhelmed, if you don't want to go from one session to another, it's okay to take a break. I know you don't want to miss all the sessions, and I know that not everything is recorded, but let's just be honest. We're going to try to get as many of at least the education session folks to come and talk and do their talk at either a higher ed tug or at one of the other education tugs, or even at the DataFam tug. So even if it's not being recorded, there's a pretty good chance that it's going to come to a tug or a recording of a tug near you. So don't feel too bad about potentially missing a session. This is the best promotion that a speaker can do. If you're tired, don't go to my session. That's what I'm telling you. And then again, just do whatever you need to do to be comfortable, because no one wants to go to a conference and be miserable. You want to be able to make the most of that experience, and it is a great experience if you let it be. So that's all for Tableau Conference in person. I'm going to toss it over to James to tell us about what you can do if you're not going to be in San Diego.
Excellent. Well, if you're not, the sessions will be, or some sessions, and earlier in the chat on the education sessions that were going to be on Salesforce Plus, they're highlighted in yellow. So if you want to go back and look in the chat and catch the education sessions. Anything in yellow should be on Salesforce Plus, but beyond education, a lot of other sessions will also be in Salesforce Plus. So not only for those like Ginny who can't go, you can go ahead and still watch them from home. But for those who actually do go, because there's so many sessions that overlap, there's also different meetups and things that you can do other than going to the sessions. Just prioritize the ones that are not being broadcast, because you can always go back and watch those. Though I have to say, I'm sometimes very bad about intending to watch things and never getting around to it. But at least it is available for you. So definitely go ahead and sign up for Salesforce Plus if you have not already. You can check out sessions at previous events, and once you make out your schedule, just make sure that you know that the ones that are not on Salesforce Plus, you may want to catch those. HETUG may pick it up. I have them come as speaker, but that's not guaranteed. But if it says it's going to be video on demand or on Salesforce Plus, you do know it will be recorded and on Salesforce Plus.
And now for our main attraction today. You may know her from HETUG. You may know her from her holiday Mad Libs. You also may know her from her Chicken Tinder app. But last but not least, you may also know her from her top 10 in this year's Iron Viz. And if I had the cheer sound, I would play it right now. But did you also know that she was an anthropology major in college? And in fact, she applied those skills to build out her top 10 Iron Viz submission. So I will turn it over to Ginny so that she can excavate her viz and uncover some artifacts.
Thank you so much, Sam. That's a great intro. Let me share my screen. Can I? Yes. All right, that's got it. All right, well, thank you for joining me today to dig into my IronViz entry for this year. In case you don't recall, the topic for this year's entry was food and beverage. And if you haven't had a chance to look at my viz yet, I thought we could start by just kind of doing a brief walkthrough. So it starts off with a slideshow. I wanted it to feel like you're in a classroom, because that is where I first learned about Jane Goodall, who was my hero, my inspiration for this viz, when I was an anthropology student back in college. So the first slide kind of explains what you can expect from the dashboard. So Jane Goodall was my hero. She was a world-renowned environmentalist who tirelessly challenged us to reconsider our relationship with food and the planet. And this dashboard explores the environmental impacts of our diet, the benefits of reducing meat consumption, and inspiration to embrace Jane Goodall's message of hope for the future. So I, back in 2020, when I was, staying home during the COVID pandemic like everybody else, and we were trying to find interesting things to do online, one of the things that I found to do was a lecture that Jane Goodall was giving to our college. Actually, it was for the students, but they allowed faculty and staff to attend, and so I did. And that is where I first was inspired to try and reduce my own meat consumption as a way to help the planet. So click through the film strip to see, in Jane's own words, why she stopped eating meat and why we should all eat meat less, or eat meatless. I like that play on words. So as you progress through the slideshow, and I have, instructions both in that little blurb and right down here as well, you can, as you progress through the slideshow, each one has a quote from Jane Goodall's website at the top. And starting with the first one, Jane Goodall believed that the effect of our modern meat production on the environment is truly terrifying. And so paired with that quote is a chart that kind of explores the data behind it. So you can see here in the accompanying chart how meat consumption has increased over the decades, but especially in upper middle income and high income countries. And that's where, the US of A is included. And then I spotlighted with this annotation that upper middle income countries have the highest percent increase over the last 5 decades. And you can hover over the lines for more information in the tooltip. So I went through several iterations of this chart before landing on this group of line charts. It really gave me the opportunity to work on my calculations and set the stage for my color palette, where we're seeing orange in relation to meat, and then green, as you'll see in the next slide, in relation to plants. Okay, so on slide 2 is where we see the first piece of inspiration that I got from somebody in the DataFam. So if you're like me, you spend a whole lot of time building bar graphs, and by that I mean building boring bar graphs, and I really wanted to liven them up in this dashboard. So I went digging around Tableau Public until I found this example by Brittany Roseno, and I hope I'm saying her name right. So you can see here how she anchors the bar graphs with a bar of a darker base color. It's a really simple touch, but it takes the bars from being boring to being quite striking, I think. And also having the bars fill that entire space from border to border. I just really like the aesthetic. So I ended up building all of my bar charts like this in the entire dashboard. All right, sorry. All of the bars in the slideshow of the dashboard like this. So the technique that I use to build it is a dual axis technique, and you kind of have to play around with the size of that anchoring bar. So on this chart, it's set to 20,000 because the axis range goes from 0 to over 2 million. And I just wanted, that small section of it at the front of the bar to be a darker color. But on slide 3, where I use this technique again, it's only set to 5 because this axis goes from 0 to just over 300. Well, it's probably around 400. And it's not perfect because the bars don't match exactly from one slide to the next. But I hope it's close enough that you wouldn't have noticed it if I didn't mention it. So I will put the link to Brittany's blog in the chat because she's got a fantastic step-by-step walkthrough that you can follow along with. All right, so another technique that I use a lot here are Viz and tooltips. And in slide 3, you'll see that I have this hover instruction, and that's because I really don't want anybody to miss, I don't want anybody to miss the Viz and tooltips. I had to include that extra instruction there. So the tooltips, at least in this case, I wanted to take the measurements and kind of translate them into something that was easier to understand. I don't think a lot of people can close their eyes and picture exactly what a square meter would look like. So in the tooltip, I compare it to something that they're more familiar with, in this case, a football field. So 326.2 square meters of land is about 6.1% of a football field. And I did this using a waffle chart, but not your typical 10 by 10 waffle chart that actually looks like a waffle. Instead, this is like a 5 by 20 waffle chart that looks like a football field. So I do this again in slide 6. See that hover instruction there? Only in slide 6, I'm taking liters of water and translating it into gallons, and then taking a step further and saying how many bathtubs that many gallons would fill. So 1,481 gallons is approximately 5,605 liters, which is enough for 28 bathtubs. So I thought that was an interesting progression of calculations too. And then this is using like a small multiples chart where we fill the bathtubs as we go through. So that was a really fun one to build as well. So anyway, we'll skip ahead to slide 9, which wraps up the introductory lecture and includes instructions for the next part, which is the Q&A. And I did that to keep that whole students in the classroom vibe. But before we go down to that part, I do want to point out one thing that I think a lot of people probably miss in this dashboard, and that's okay, because it's not actually essential to understanding the dashboard in any way, but it's just like a little piece I wanted to add in. And that is if you hover over the icons of the audience, each one of them has a different Jane Goodall quote because she has so many good quotes, and I really couldn't figure out any other way to work them into the dashboard. So that was a little shout out to her there. All right, so moving on with the question and answer section. The first question, can you still get enough protein if you don't eat meat, is where I introduce my next data artifact, which is this map. So the map is what they call a Robinson projection or Robinson map projection. And I learned this from a blog that Brian Moore wrote. Brian Moore, if you recall, is one of the finalists for Iron Viz this year. I'll put the link to that in the chat. So why did I want to use a Robinson projection map in my Viz? Well, other than not wanting to stick to the default, I was trying to push myself outside my comfort zone, learned how to do something new, which is always what I try to do when I'm doing an Iron Viz feeder. I wanted to use the projection map because they display the countries a little bit more accurately than the default map in Tableau. But you might also notice there's some drawbacks to it, like Greenland is not showing on here, and that's because it's missing from the data. And because of the data blending needed to build this map, it's not possible for me to show countries that have a null data. And so that was just one of the drawbacks, but I felt like it was still worth trying this new technique and using that in my Viz. So this is another place I use those Viz and tooltips to get some additional information across, and yes, even a pie chart in the Viz and tooltip, because I wanted to be able to show, a variety of charts, a variety of techniques and skills, because that's, the whole reason behind Iron Viz. And beside this map is a calculator that lets you put in your weight in either pounds or kilograms and find out how much protein you need to be ingesting. And this was fun just because, again, I get to learn a new calculation technique in order to do this. As we progress a little bit further down the dashboard, you'll see we have a spreadsheet. Well, looks like a spreadsheet, it's a table. Where you have different protein sources, the amount of protein in each one, which diet types that fits into, if you're a pescatarian, a lacto-ovo vegetarian, or a vegan. And then it explains these diets off to the side so you understand what each one is. And then if you find something that you like peanuts, I'm kind of obsessed with peanuts right now, you can click on the check mark, and it has a URL action where you can actually search the web to find recipes using peanuts. So down below that, we're moving on to the next question. Are there types of plants or plant products that you should avoid to help the environment? Because we're not just harping on meat here. There are some plants that are troublesome too. So this time I chose to use a scatter plot to highlight plants with higher greenhouse gas emissions, and then have some annotations to point out, this side of the quadrant is higher emissions from losses. This side of the quadrant's higher emissions from transport. I didn't draw the lines in, tried that, was too busy, took it out. But the technique I used in building this scatter plot is actually one I believe I learned from Sarah Bartlett in a tips and tricks session years ago, but I can't find it anywhere. So I'm sorry, I don't have a link to share for that. But the technique that she used was to have a dual axis scatter plot where you have one icon is a circle that's semi-transparent and the other icon is just the ring that goes around the circle that is the darker shade of green in this case. And I chose that technique because, well, it adds a little bit of interest to the scatter plot, and it also kind of reflects back on those bar charts from the beginning where it was anchored in a darker color. So like pulling that continuity through the Viz. So below that is another Robinson projection map. This one actually has Greenland. But it's not the map that I want to point out in this example. It's actually the Vision tooltip that I want to point out, which is another data artifact, DataFam artifact. I learned to do this technique from a blog by Kevin Flaherlich. Let me get that link in the chat for you. So the blog that Kevin wrote was about segmented total bar charts, and he pointed out that they are a fantastic alternative to stacked bar charts, and I happen to agree. So when I hover over any of the countries in this map, you'll see that we have the bars side by side as opposed to being stacked. And then there is a total line across the top, and that's just a reference line that shows where it would be if they were stacked. So we get the side by side for easy comparison with the total bar at the top. And I think that's just a really smart technique. And I've used this at work in several different dashboards already. So next to that is an inverted triangle that I built using that free tool from InterWorks that lets you map a polygon and export the CSV file so that you can easily build it in Tableau. If you were at the December HETUG, you already saw me present on this, and there is the link to the studio where you can use it yourself. I'm not going to go into it, but you can go back and watch that video and learn about the process if you were not able to make it to the December HETUG meeting. And there's the link to that. So below that, we are going to end with a sunburst chart. So it has the instructions to choose a slice. So you can click on any piece of this and it will split out into even more slices. So this is answering the question, what are some other benefits of eating less meat? Even skipping 1 day per week can make a difference. So click on a slice to learn more about Meatless Monday initiatives and their benefits. So there are 6 different benefits or 6 different areas where you can learn about benefits. So food service benefits, health benefits, community benefits, consumer benefits, environment, and also food system. So that brings us full circle. I learned how to build this sunburst chart from a blog by the Data School, and I will put that in the chat as well. I wanted to build it this way instead of using the Viz extensions just because I wanted to push myself and I wasn't sure how it would render on Tableau Public if I used the Viz extension. And then the hardest part for me was actually getting these colors to line up just so. And also, I wish I could go back and not make the tooltips all in italic because the other tooltips in this dashboard are not in italics. And I feel like it kind of doesn't flow as well with the others. And see, even after you publish a Viz, I'm always finding something I want to change. I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels that way. I'm sure all of you have felt that way too. So this brings us to the end of the Viz, and once we're all the way through the charts, the question and answers are done, and we end with persuasive arguments for why you should eat less meat. And this is a call to action with an inspirational quote by Jane Goodall. So we started with Jane Goodall quotes, and we're ending with Jane Goodall quotes. So it makes it feel like we've come full circle. So each button here takes you to a website for different Eat Meat Less initiatives. So Eat Meat Less, Meatless Monday, and then Veganuary, which is, I think, a little bit too challenging even for me. And then we also have our sources and shout outs and links to all the different blogs that I shared with you. And none of these links work, of course. Go figure. But I also wanted to say a big thank you to my friends and family who gave feedback on this Viz, and some of them are in the HETUG. I don't know if they're here today, but Jordan Bullington Miller was tremendous help in going through and trying to improve the early versions of this Viz, and Allison Joseph too. I couldn't have done it without you guys. So extra big thank you to you both. Hope you enjoyed the walkthrough. I always welcome constructive feedback. I'd love to know, what is your favorite part of the viz, your least favorite, what you liked, didn't like, why. All that kind of helps me as I go on to build more vizzes in the future. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, let me know. That's really sweet, Doc. Thanks for saying that. I figure I'm just going to keep plugging away at it until it is my year.
That was really awesome, and it was a really great way to your presentation was just a really, really nice little homage to the DataFam, because that is what this community, the HETUG and the DataFam in general is. It is all about learning and sharing with each other, and even finding some things that you can apply to your work life, not just the fun vizzes. But it's also, you learned a lot. Like you said, part of IronViz is to stretch yourself, and part of that is learning, applying something new. And you did that a whole lot in this viz, and it shows. Like this viz is amazing. And yeah, I completely agree with what Doc said in the chat. It really would. In a few years ago, this would have been like top 3, and we would have seen Ginny at TC the next year.
It was a lot of fun to build too, and I have to say this is one of my favorite topics that we've ever had for Iron Viz Feeder. I knew exactly what I wanted to viz about from the beginning. I didn't change my mind 10 times like I usually do.
So can you talk a little bit about the data collection? Like how hard was that part of the process?
That was intense. So first I found the quotes by Jane Goodall that are in the introductory. It's actually just a one paragraph quote that I split into 7, 8 different ones, different sentences to go with each of the corresponding charts as we go through the slideshow. And so I found the quote, and then I had to go out and find the data to support all of the pieces of the quote. And I found almost everything at Our World in Data, which is a fantastic, let me get the link for you, because it's a fantastic data source for anything environmental. I'll throw that link in the chat. Yeah, so I found almost everything there. And I just kind of downloaded one CSV file at a time. There are quite a few different sources. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16. Not counting the waffle chart pathway sources. There are like 1, 2, I already lost count.
I think you said 16-ish.
16-ish, yeah. A lot of different sources on there.
Damn.
Yeah.
So do you normally start with an idea first and then find the data, or like in the past when you've done IronViz and there hasn't been sort of a suggested data source like Data Plus Movies or Data Plus TV, do you usually start with the inspiration and then find the data, or have you often gone data to then find a viz, or decide on how to viz that data? Like what is your normal approach for fun vizzes as opposed to work vizzes?
I like to build my data set a lot of the time because I know exactly what's in it, exactly the layout, exactly the level of detail, and I don't have to spend as much time learning it. Yep. But building it takes a lot of time too. But I think a lot of the IronViz entries I've done in the past have not lent themselves to pre-built data sets. I've done one on my book collection. I did one on the art of romance novel covers. I did one on my family bingo nights. All those are really very personal, and there isn't going to be data out there for them.
Right. Except for your library.
It's in my library, which I keep a very detailed spreadsheet of. Go figure.
So in terms of creating some of the art in this viz, so the film strip and like the faces or like the backs of people's heads on the main film strip page, how did you go about finding that art? Did you create it? Did you go hunting? Like what was your approach for that?
So almost all the art came from Flat Icon, which yeah. Oh, that is so hard to scroll through. Yeah, the flaticon.com is where I got all the icons, and then the title image I used Gemini because I am not an artist and I am not above using AI to create something like simple like that. This
That makes sense. Yeah.
background image, yeah.
Yeah, so like Flat Icon, the Noun Project, there's a few different sites out there that can help you find icons and other sort of, I'm going to call it decoration, and it's not always decoration. Sometimes it's actually used in the chart or in the viz in a more active way. But it's a really good source for sort of a consistent and cohesive icon set for business dashboards. So you don't have one, unfilled icon, another that's an outline, and several others that look like they're hand-drawn versus ones that look like they're more professional. Like you have a cohesive set. So it's a great resource for folks.
And I did try really hard not to use images in any way that was absolutely required to understand the viz. They're just extra in this case. And I can't remember where I have all my alt text in for all of these different. How do you get to that?
If you right click on either the image or if you're looking at the viz, if you right click on the viz, you should see an accessibility / alt text option on the dashboard.
For images, I want to say it's just if you edit the image.
Okay.
Should be the last, yeah.
Yeah, I have alt text for every single chart in this viz. There it is. So like the map.
Did you write all your own alt text, or did you allow Tableau to kind of just, because I believe Tableau also generates its own descriptors.
I wrote all of my own.
Awesome.
Yep. So I tried to, in the alt text, also kind of point out any outliers or any important information to take away. That was one of the more time-consuming parts. But it's an important piece.
It is. All right. I think that we are close to time and we want to have a few minutes to chat. So I'm going to steal the screen share and thank you, Ginny. Always.
Thank you.
All right, so we are wrapping up for the day. We want to know what you thought of today's meeting, so please tell us. We've got a form out there for you to fill out. Also, as we showed a few education sessions today earlier from TC, but even if you're not attending, if you go check out the session list on the Tableau Conference website, if you find any other sessions that you're interested in hearing more about, let us know. Go fill out the present at HETUG form and say, hey, I saw this listing. It'd be great to get that speaker in. So between or after Tableau Conference, we've got a little bit of a break, and then we are going to have an accessibility themed HETUG on May 20th. May 21st is Global Accessibility Awareness Day, or GAD. It's the 15th anniversary. There's a bunch of really high profile events happening around the world because it's Global Accessibility Day. So the day before, we're going to focus on accessibility. So a lot of folks, you work in state universities and colleges, which means that you are subject to Title II. And Title II, there was a deadline of April 20-something, 2026 for the larger organizations. So I think 50K plus person organizations to meet Title II accessibility or to comply with Title II's accessibility or guideline or requirements. And it like often happens in this day and age, that deadline got punted by a year to April of 2027. The smaller organization deadline of April 2027 got moved to April 2028. But we don't want everyone to just kick the can down the road, which is sort of the whew, I have breathing room. Because if your dashboards aren't accessible, you actually are preventing folks who need access from being able to use the things that you're building. You're excluding folks. And so even though there is this deadline lurking, we still think that you should just in general practice more accessible practices in building your dashboards. And so we're gonna meet Title II. So not everyone is public sector, but the things that matter for accessibility can be applied by everyone. So Mark Miller, the founder of Inclusion, Impact, and Accessibility, is an expert in accessibility. He actually has credentials and things, and he's going to tell us a little bit about Title II and what it means and why even if you're not subject to it, some of the guidelines like following WCAG standards is a good practice anyway. And then we're going to learn from two schools who are subject. I believe they're both in the original April 2026 group of schools that need to comply with Title II. We've got Will Turner from the University of Texas at Austin, who 6 weeks ago started this process of figuring out how to make all of UT Austin's dashboards comply. And so UT is at in the early days of their path towards compliance. So Will's going to share what they've come up with so far. And then Ben Snyder at the University of Illinois, he's presented in a few different places, including a couple of HEDW Higher Ed Data World conferences about accessibility, specifically related to Tableau. And I saw him present actually yesterday at HEDW. I met Ben and Mark, and that's how this came together. And then this morning I met Will. So Ben has presented a few times on accessibility. He did a great presentation yesterday. He's going to bring that back with potentially some additions, because things get cut for conferences sometimes, or sometimes you want to explore a little bit more. So I think it's going to be a great session. Again, even if you aren't subject to Title II, your school isn't subject to Title II, I think there's a lot to learn and a lot of features that you may not know about in Tableau that can actually help you as a developer as well. So please come to the May 20th session. It's going to be amazing. And with that, hold on. No, we got one more. Sam.
Oh, yes. So we hopefully have prepared you all pretty well for the conference next week, for the Tableau conference. Please, again, come check out the education meetup. Most of us will be there, and hopefully we'll see Ginny virtually. And then Ginny spoke about this earlier as well. Analytics Day, which is free and hosted by Appalachian State, is on June 11th. So make sure you are registering for that by May 28th. And if you want to submit a proposal to talk at Analytics Day, that is due May 8th. So if you are going to the conference next week, make sure you get those in sooner rather than later. That way you're not trying to put together a proposal while you're walking around the convention center. My goal is to get mine in by Friday, so we'll see. Might do it while I'm at the airport. But yeah, so hopefully we see you next week. And yeah, thanks for attending today, and thanks to all our speakers who either spoke live or recorded a video for us. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone.